Morning. Well, I don't know if y'all can hear, but it is very windy outside. Very, very windy outside. It's a good day to be inside this feed shed. What I got going on for me today is when I did all that stuff with that intake heater relay, pulled all apart, I had to pull that shift tower out. And I think I kind of went into this a little bit, but I'm not sure how much I did. When they put that shift tower in, they put it in with fine thread 7/16 bolts. No nuts, no nothing. They just drilled the hole, ran those in there. And when you took those out, when you tried to put them back in, they wouldn't cinch up. So, to alleviate that problem, so you could use it in the interim while we're waiting for the part, I put lag bolts in, 1/2-inch lag bolts. And that cinched it down good. And we pulled those out so we could put that part in, that relay, put everything back together. It wobbled a little bit. It is what it is. Well, this weekend, well, those bolts weren't going to hold anymore. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get under, get underneath this bugger, and I'm going to see if I can see where those bolts are from underneath, and if I can, then I'm going to run fine thread 1/2-inch bolts through there, and I'm going to put nuts and lock washers on the bottom of it. Will it work? I don't know. I don't know if I can see anything from underneath or not. Now it's going to be about my only option to do that. If that don't work, I'm just going to have to go up a size, a little bit with the lag bolt, and cinch it down again. So it just seems like when you pull it out and put it back in is when it don't hold. When you initially put them in, they hold good. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather put nuts on there, but I don't know what I can see from the bottom. So I don't know if you can tell, but this feed truck is not the easiest to get under. There isn't a whole lot of room under there. So what I did is I put a block of wood right there and I drove up on it with the steer tire, which is something we do in a semi as well. And I'll crawl in back through here. I got a board down there for me to lay on so I don't get covered in corn dust and whatever all that other stuff is. Now hopefully I got this up enough with that block that I can kind of see what I'm doing underneath there. Give me just a tiny bit more room. So what we have right here, well, that right there is what changes your gears in your transmission. So we follow the shift linkage all the way up to where it goes into the floor. Well, that's good. You see, maybe you can't see real well. You see that bolt all the way up at the top there? That's what we're after. Well, this isn't going to be easy, but it's doable. I can feel it up there, so we'll see what we get done. So maybe you can see a little bit, but shift linkage comes out the back. And we have 2 lag bolts this side, 2 lag bolts the other side. You can also see what we're working with. So the back one over here is holding, front one is not. So I'm going to get this lag bolt out and I can get to this one. I don't think I can get to the other one on the other side, but if I get this one with a nut on it, we should be good to go. Not ideal, but it works. It wasn't ideal how they put this darn thing in here in the first place. Let's see what we got. There we go. So you remember what I was telling you guys about just a little bit earlier. You put the bolt in, It works great, holds great. You take it out, you put it in again, it doesn't hold very well. Well, this is why. Those threads are pretty well shot, run off. That's why that's not working like it's supposed to. So when I told you if I needed to, I could throw another lag bolt in there, which would be the easier option. But that's why we'd be able to do that. Because those threads that go through there, they'd hold that thing tight and it will work out great. But we're gonna try to put a nut on there because, well, I want to make it more of a pain in the neck for myself next time I take it apart, and I also don't want to mess with this thing anymore. So I'm gonna have to go get a drill bit, size of this shank, so we can make sure we're not trying to thread this thing down there. And we'll put this 1/2-inch bolt through there, lock washer, nut, and we're gonna get this bugger shored up, hopefully. Okay, got the hole drilled or widened up or whatever you want to say. Now, the next question becomes, how do you keep this top from spinning when you're trying to put that nut on? You got a 2-person job. You got 1 person up here holding that. You got a person down low putting that nut on. Well, I don't have 2 people. I just got me. But I also got a wrench. So I'm going to put the wrench on that bolt. So this wrench will sit up against the housing or the base of that shift tower. So when I'm trying to put that nut on, that bolt's not going to spin. And that should, in theory, work. I don't know. I've been wrong before, so we'll see. Well, it ain't pretty, but by George, I think it's gonna work. I sure hope so. Now, normally I'd use my handy dandy 1/4-inch cordless impact gun, but I don't think I got enough room under there to use that. I'm not sure. So, I'm gonna use the handy little cordless ratchet I got. So once I get that stuff started, I'll just put this little ratchet on there and she'll spin that little bugger on for me. But I guess we better crawl underneath of there and see how well this is actually gonna work. Well, as you can see, we got the nut on. Actually, I had to go and put my drill on top of that bolt to keep it from pushing up, but we got the nut on. So we'll call that a success. We'll see how this works. You see what I was talking about with that drill. I'll pull the wrench. Give her another turn to tighten her up. Now, that ain't bad. Not bad. Oh, still shakes a little bit, which I expected. And the reason it's gonna shake is because you got 1 bolt that's really tight. The back bolt's holding. The other 2 on the other side aren't holding all that well. I mean, obviously you can see how it was flopping before. But we can't really get to the other side. It's right on top of that transmission. There's no room to get to it to even see them. And you also have the other self-tapping lag bolts going through there for the plate that goes over the hole for the old transmission, or for the old shift tower that was in there. So not a whole lot we can do about that. Not a whole lot at all. But that's okay. I think it's gonna work. We'll give her a shot this afternoon, see how we think, and we'll go from there. And might go through later on and replace that other one, but as far as right now, we're not gonna mess with it. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull my tools and everything else out of there, get them put back in the pickup, get that board out of there, and I'll probably wait to back this thing off the board that it's on until I get ready to feed. And then we'll worry about it then. So I talked in one of the previous videos about greasing this feed truck. And you grease it, or I try to grease it about every week. And the reason being is there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of bearings, and let's be honest with each other. Last thing I want is for anything to burn up in this thing, because then it becomes a pain in the neck, and I typically got to work on it. I may not be the one that ultimately fixes it, but I've got to struggle with it and cuss at it until it gets to that point. So I use my handy dandy 18-volt Milwaukee grease gun. Love it. I've used both Milwaukee and Detroit, or not Detroit, DeWalt. Oh, said Detroit because that's what the trucks had in them for engines. But used Milwaukee and DeWalt. And DeWalt works great. That's what the Bossman had. It worked good. This Milwaukee one works better. I love it. And I'm kind of partial to Milwaukee tools anyway. But it works fantastic. The Bossman here, he has a bunch of the regular manual pump ones, and they work good. They're just kind of a pain to get in here to do some of this stuff that I'll try to show you. And my word, my face is dirty. Makes it look like I actually did work today. How about that? But at any rate, I'm gonna go get me a rag, clean some of this stuff off, and then we'll get this bugger greased. So the stuff that we're worried about on this feed truck isn't the truck itself. There isn't a whole lot of wear and tear on the truck itself. It's not running a bunch of miles. It's not being run hard. It's run in short bursts, idled up. It is what it is. So we do grease the stuff on that like you would on a normal semi or straight truck. But a lot of what we're worried about is on this box. This is what has the wear and tear. This is what's doing all the work. So we got all kinds of things that we got to grease on it. And you see that thing up top there? And I got another one down lower. But what those do, those power the big mixer blades inside. I'm not even sure I'd call them blades, but they're like a giant auger. And it's what mixes your feed. So we grease those. And they got a couple on this side, a couple on that side. And then there's also a shaft that goes straight under the center of that, like a drive shaft in your car. And it's got U-joints on both ends. But through the center of it, it's got little collars on it that got bearings in them. And they got grease zerks on them. You grease those too. But the first order of business with all of this is we got to clean off all the grease zerks. We don't clean them off, then we're going to shove that nasty dirt and stuff inside there, and then it ends up plugging up, and then you got to pull the grease zerk off, and you got to clean it out, and try to force more grease in there. It's just, it gets to be a pain. So it's doable, but why do it if you don't have to? It's easier just to grab a rag and clean those off. We also have those two grease points. And those two deals, they grease the bearings for your output augers. And if you guys remember, we had a heck of a time with this one because apparently those bearings had never been greased and they burned up and it was just a pain to get it out. So always got to grease those. These end up spinning faster than the blades inside the feed box. There, if you look through, you can see that shaft, and you can see this deal right here. That is a bearing in it. That is the grease zerk. You got these all across down here, and then U-joint at the ends. So clean those up. We'll grease those too. Well, I'm not sure how fun that was watching me grease everything, but I figured I'd try it. We'll see how it comes out, see how it works. I don't know. But either way, I got this bugger grease. There's a couple of points that I wasn't able to show you, but that's all right. I mean, not everybody wants to watch people grease stuff, so make it quick and painless. But now I'm gonna clean the end of my little nozzle off on that grease gun and put everything back together, and then I guess I'll probably go home, make a sandwich or something like that. I really don't know. Clean my face up a bit. With the wind blowing like it is, it's hard to get anything done outside. And there isn't a terrible lot that needs done. I mean, I got some panels I could straighten. That's kind of a two-man job to get that figured out, but it doesn't really need to be done. It just don't look the best. I mean, but nobody else sees it. We do. We don't like it. Then I got another deal that the boss broke there quite a while ago on one of them fences. That's the same thing. Needs fixed, but don't really want to do it in the wind, and I ain't sure how to do it yet. So I'll show you guys that when I kind of get a game plan together. But for right now, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna eat. Well, my lovely wife and my little boy are on a little bit of a road trip today. They're going east, I guess what I'll tell you. They're gonna go pick up a puppy for her mother. That's a long story how that all come to be, but all the hustle and bustle this morning and them getting everything ready to go, she didn't come out and check her chickens, which is fine. So I come out here after I eat, and I'm gonna feed them, because these little buggers are getting big and they eat a lot. It just really amazed me how fast these things grow, especially this chunky little Cornish hen. But they eat a lot. Yeah, I went out and decided to clean her water dish up and fill it too. Darn old critters anyway. Oh, goodness. It is still windy. Really windy. Ain't gonna get any better. It's gonna get worse, actually. So I don't know. I thought about going into town and seeing if we could find any barbed wire, because we need some. I need some out there at the farm. But went around, nobody had any. They had what we call horse wire, which is like barbed wire without the barbs. That does us no good. So, thought about running in and see if they could order us a couple of rolls in. But there's really no other purpose to me going that far. So, and it's not that far, but far enough. You don't want to waste the gas. So, I think I'm going to go back. I'm going to run around the pens, see what we got, see if they broke anything. And then maybe try to formulate a game plan for that broken part of the fence the boss did before I started. And then I'd go to the shop, I guess, and kind of tidy stuff around, go through stuff again, and see what we get done. Not fun. Wind is not fun. Yeah, just about home. If you're wondering what I did to occupy my time this afternoon, well, I pulled the pickup into the garage or shop or whatever you want to call it there at the farm, and I went through and tried to kind of clean some stuff up and organize some stuff in my toolbox. Now, they had a lot of stuff that I didn't put in there. I just kind of left in there because I didn't have time to go through it. Just wanted to throw some of my stuff in. So I took out a lot of garbage that didn't need to be in there. A lot of stuff that whoever drove this truck before had left. And made it so I had more room. I could put my sprays and lubricants and stuff like that where I needed it. I got a spot separated out there so I can put my oils in and whatever else I'm going to need, coolant, whatever. I'm just going to get some cardboard, I think, and set it down there before I put any of the hydraulic oil or whatever in there. Just in case. I don't need that soaking onto everything else. But after I did that, drove around, checked pins, everything was as it should be, and then I jumped into the loader and I pushed up distillers and then I fed, and well, here we are. Sounds like tomorrow we're going to pull the culture injector or fertilizer deal out of the shed, and we're going to pull the root baller out of the shed. Go through everything on that, replace the bearings need to be replaced, grease everything needs to be greased, get everything ready to go on both of those. And I'm sure here sometime within the week or next week, early next week, probably be going down and picking up fertilizer. After that, we should be good to go in the field. So I don't know if he's gonna, if we're just gonna get everything ready to go and then jump in with the root baller, or if we're gonna go and get the fertilizer for the culture injector. I don't know. I'm not a farmer yet. I don't have a clue how this works. I just follow his lead, let him teach me, and then I'll figure it out from there. So like I say, I've been doing this since November, and I'm not an expert at it. I don't really know what's what. I know you gotta fertilize, plant, corn grows, water the corn, pick corn, sell corn. So other than that, I don't know a whole lot. I don't know all the other intricacies that go into it. But as of right now, I'm here at the house. So I'm going to get off with you guys. I'm going to go in, let the puppy out, go check chickens. And then I think I'm going to go upstairs and work on little man's room, doing the floor and the walls in that room. So I'll go work on that for a while, and then I'll probably eat something and shower and go to bed. So anyway, guys, I'll come at you here later on sometime. We'll see what we're doing then. But as always, guys, I thank y'all for watching.